What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Thursday episode of Flippin Bats, where we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in baseball, especially up in New York. What is going on with the Yankees, and will they make the playoffs? What should the Mets do at the trade deadline? We'll talk all about that. Justin's start on the mound last night. The Orioles, they're now in first place in the AL East, and we're going to do panic or patience. 4 or 5 teams, and whether it's time to panic or be a little more patient. This one's going to be a blast. Let's get to it.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. What is up, my friends? Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday, Alex.
And happy Women's World Cup Day. It all kicked off really early for us last night.
Did you watch? It started at what, midnight our time?
Yeah, midnight our time. New Zealand kicked things off, getting their first win in Women's World Cup history. 32 years. First time winning a match, which was absolutely insane in their home stadium. So that was incredible.
I imagine, since I asked if you watched and got a blank look and no answer, that's a no.
I know, I was sleeping. I was sleeping last night. I will watch USA tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific, though.
6 p.m.
That's
Pacific
a good time for me.
Tomorrow,
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to watch that one, too.
I'll watch that.
Yeah. You got to.
I support
the girls. Going for a three-peat.
Support the girls and everybody we know in Australia right now.
Our entire crew is out there.
Our entire crew is in Australia.
You know who else you were supporting yesterday? Your brother. He got a good start.
He had a great start. 8 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. You know what I like to see, and this was evident very early on that, we had talked throughout the year about his off speed, and missing the first month of the season obviously hurts. So I just feel like all year long you're trying to play catch up, and it looked like last night his off-speed stuff was back. His slider was there, and for the first time this year, what I saw from his slider was what I saw last year and years prior, where guys at the plate don't look like they're swinging at a slider. They look like they're swinging at a fastball that's not there anymore. So you ended up getting a ton of swing and misses. He got 7 strikeouts, a lot of them on that slider. So off-speed stuff is back. It's dialed in. Last 7 starts for Justin, under a 2.5 ERA. So he's pitching well.
He's back?
He's
back.
I think he's back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to, again, like you said, the first month, he didn't have a spring training. So his first month is his spring training in the big leagues. That's not easy.
Yeah, there's also not really a lot more time to figure things out. Obviously, there's not you don't have the ability to struggle much longer because of how bad the team's been all year. So they're starting to turn around. I think they're 9-4 in the month of July. And a big part of that is the pitching. When the pitching goes at least into the 7th inning, when the starters get into the 7th, the Mets have a really, really good record this year. So I just liked he pitched deep into the game, got through 8 innings, and it was honestly a question of does he go back out?
Yeah.
His pitch count wasn't super high. That was in check all game long. The command was great. That looked awesome. And for me, it's the slider. That was the big difference. His velocity is still been there mostly this year. He's up to 98 in his last start, mid to upper 90s yesterday a lot of the time when he needed it. But it's the swings and misses that he was getting on his off-speed pitch that was different last night than I've seen all year long, and something that we had talked about, and I know he'd been kind of looking for and tweaking here and there his off-speed, trying to find what had been there in the past, and just I didn't need to see the movement. It's look at the swings the other team was taking, that the White Sox were taking. And I know the lineup is a free swinging lineup. They swing a lot. But you could tell at the plate they weren't swinging at sliders. They were swinging at what they thought was a fastball that just disappeared. And I think that's the reason that I'm able to say he's back. I struggled to say it because he walked those – God, that start against the Dodgers – He was no-hitting the Dodgers through 4 2/3, and then he walked the 7, 8, and 9 guys to get to Mookie and Freddie. And I'm no expert, but that doesn't feel like the smart thing to do.
No.
If you're going to walk anybody, walk Mookie and Freddie and then get to the 70. But whatever. Last night was awesome. Justin's back.
Yeah, it was a big win for Justin, big win for the Mets. We'll dive deeper into the Mets a little later in the show, but there was another big win last night. The Angels completing the sweep against the Yankees. The first time they've swept the Yankees in a 3-game series in 14 years. And Shohei Ohtani went off in the first 2 games, got walked quite a bit in that third game.
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. But the big news that kind of came out of that was Artie Moreno coming out and saying that he will not trade Shohei Ohtani to the Dodgers.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Well, but look, I will acknowledge they are winning right now.
Yeah.
They sweep the Yankees.
They are.
So, obviously there's still today's July 20th. So there's still 10, 11. Is there 31 days in July? 30 days has September, April, June. And 31 days in July. So there's still 11. What?
I was just watching your brain work. My mind goes, I'm like, I'm May 27th. There's a 31st in May, so it's definitely not June. So yeah, it's July. It's every other month is 31. That's the way my mind goes. But
Is
you
it
went
every other month?
Yeah, you went like a whole song.
Yeah, you know the song.
Nope.
30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February.
Yeah. Cool. No, never knew that song.
Well, you heard it here first. Flippin' calendars with Ben and Alex. It's just dumb. And obviously we're talking if they make the decision to trade him, there's still 11 days left. But if you're going to trade him, to just say I'm not trading with the Dodgers, well, guess what? He's a free agent at the end of the year anyway, and he could just sign with the Dodgers if he wants to. And they certainly appear to be a top player in this. So you can't prevent Shohei from going to the Dodgers. So why not just, if they're the best package available, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it. It's dumb in my opinion.
It feels like bad business, kind of like how we were talking about before, where nope, we're not going to trade Ohtani at all. It's like, okay, but if you can't keep him and then you're going to lose him, it feels like bad business not to get something in return for him. So if this is the best deal and the best return that you can get on a deal for Shohei Ohtani, why wouldn't you take it?
You know what would be the ultimate play?
Huh.
I don't think he should say this. The ultimate play is this. Make a trade with the Dodgers. Have a pre-existing conversation with Shohei. If you think he wants to re-sign, say that. Let everybody knows that. You, Shohei, the Angels, everybody's on board. Trade him to the Dodgers. Get as much as you can from the Dodgers and then sign him back in the offseason. So you've just milked the Dodgers.
That's sneaky.
And then you sign Shohei.
But you don't tell the
back.
Dodgers, but Shohei's in on that? That doesn't seem honorable, and he's a very honorable, respectful human. The whole Japanese culture is extremely honorable.
No, he's honorable. I'm saying it's not to what? It's good business. Look,
so if Ohtani's in on that, okay, yeah, I'll be on your side to milk the Dodgers for all they're worth, and then I'll come back and sign with you? No, he wouldn't do that.
That's not bad. That's not
I don't feel good about it.
Time out. A few years ago, I don't know what year it was. Yankees, Cubs.
Okay.
Yankees traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs. They get back Gleyber Torres in that deal. Cubs end up winning a World Series with Aroldis Chapman, and then he goes right back to the Yankees. So it would not be the Dodgers are heavy. The Dodgers are World Series favorites if they add Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So imagine a world in which I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it would be like a sneaky good business thing.
Extremely sneaky. Very, very sneaky, Ben.
Hey, you go to the Dodgers. Sneaky. We'll load up for next year, and then you'll be part of we'll bring you right back. But not just
there's so many theories, possibilities. Is he going to stay in the American League? Is he going to go to the National League? What happens with the MVP situation if he goes? There's so many conversations right now around this, and we have little 2 weeks-ish.
What
11,
we learned.
You said 11 days?
Did you not hear my song, Alex? There's 11 days left.
I heard your song. I didn't hear the number. But I did subconsciously, I guess.
Did you see our Fox Sports writers, all of them, put together an article of theoretical trades for Shohei Ohtani? I think there were 12.
Okay.
And if you haven't checked it out, you should go check that out. But I went through and it's just it's an interesting conversation to have. I have one that I would put together from I don't know if you saw my tweet. Shohei to Detroit. I'm all in. Imagine. imagine. Anyway,
Never.
yeah,
Never.
go check
Never
out
gonna
that
happen,
article.
Ben.
Yeah,
Never gonna happen.
yeah. Well,
Are you gonna share it or just go check out the tweet and the article? Was it a
What?
tease?
What, the article?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just 12. It was like 12 of our articles I can't tell you all the hypothetical trades, but like
Okay.
12 teams that are a potential signing. They
All
just
right.
went through and listed everybody, like prospects and everything you could get in return.
A haul.
The haul you
The
could get
haul
back.
you would get.
Yep.
You would get the entire franchise. Then he would have nothing, and then he's not going to win, and that's his number one thing. But we're on Shohei Ohtani watch for the next week and a half, which is exciting,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our first segment, making a statement. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to give Ben some statements. You tell me if you agree with them or you don't agree with them.
Okay.
Our first one. Offense is at an all-time high.
Well, so this is coming on the heels of Tuesday.
Where 12 teams
where-
scored
yeah,
double-digit runs.
There were 4 games on Tuesday night where both teams scored 10 or more runs.
Yeah.
Both teams.
Tied for most ever.
Oh yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
So this is actually, it's only happened 3 times.
Yeah.
And this is wild. It's only happened 3 times. It happened July 4th, 1894.
Oof.
And then 5 days later, July 9th, 1894. And then didn't happen again for 129 years until Tuesday night.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then 3 games ended 11-10, which for the first time ever. So there was a lot of, it was like an offensive explosion on Tuesday.
There was.
Yeah.
Now, I do not believe offense is at an all-time high. I think the new rules set in place this year were to try and get offense back a little bit because of how dominant the pitching is in this day and age. If you look at offensive run production over the last few years in baseball, starting in 2019, there was just a decline, right? 2021, 22, and then heading into 23, but they end up changing the rules to add offense, right? Bigger bases, meaning more infield singles, more stolen bases, the pickover rule, more stolen bases, limiting the shift, more hits, more infield singles. So all of that was to just try and bring offense back to the game a little bit, and it's certainly done that. Offense is higher now than it has been in the last few years, but we're in an age dominated by pitching. There has never been a time, this really started happening, I feel like 5-ish years ago. Everybody coming out of the bullpens throwing 100 miles an hour, and it's moving all over the place. And what do you need to do to alleviate that? You need to help bring offense about somehow. But no, offense definitely isn't at an all-time high. I mean, look at 98, 99, 2000, the steroid era. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
I mean, say what you will.
You can't beat the steroid era.
Say what you will about the era, but it was a blast to watch baseball.
Oh, it saved baseball.
It saved baseball from
baseball.
the strike and everything going on. Then you had McGuire and Sosa roided out of their minds, hitting homers. I mean, that was really the first, in 98, I was 6? Math is hard. I was 6. And that's really like my first memory of watching baseball is that home run race that summer, and then going out to a baseball field in Little League, and everybody had those aluminum bats. It was either the blue Sammy Sosa bat or the red Mark McGuire bat, and it was just like it won baseball back over.
Yep.
It brought everyone back. So offense is not at an all-time high. It's just back to being a little bit better than it was over the last few years where pitching really started dominating.
That's fair. Let's move on to our next statement. The Yankees will miss the playoffs. Ooh.
I don't see how you don't say yes at this point.
They're 9 games out of first place. They're in last place in the AL East.
I'll do you one better.
Okay.
If the Yankees don't win this series against the Royals that starts on Friday, the weekend series, they should sell.
Ooh.
And they should reload
Ooh.
for next year. And I don't care when Aaron Judge comes back. That obviously helps, but is it going to save their season? They're on a 94 loss pace without Aaron Judge. 94 losses. Since May 20th, Anthony Rizzo doesn't have a homer and is hitting under 200. Giancarlo Stanton hitting under 200 on the season. DJ LeMahieu hitting 231. These problems go far deeper than Aaron Judge not being in the lineup. I mean, this team has problems. Big problems. It's offensive problems. It's not just an Aaron Judge issue here. So I don't think they make the playoffs. Aaron Judge could come back tomorrow, and I don't become a believer in this team. And does he do more? Yes, he brings a lot of offense, and he also, I do believe, every great captain does this, lifts everybody up around him, but not enough. I mean, you have the Orioles surging in the AL East. You have the Rays, who have been pretty good, really good for the majority of the year, and still one of the best teams in the league. You have the Blue Jays, who are playing good baseball. You have the Red Sox, who are playing good baseball. And then you have the New York Yankees, who can't hit and get swept by the Dodgers without Mike Trout. It's a nightmare to watch them. You have Carlos Rodon. What did I say? Swept by the Angels. And then you have Carlos Rodon, your new prized possession, who's finally back. And I understand he hasn't pitched much this year, so pump the brakes a little when he has a bad outing. But he walks off the field to boos from the crowd, and he's blowing kisses to them. Like, it's just a nightmare of a situation for everybody. So this isn't about Aaron Judge. This is about every single person on the Yankees roster underachieving. So no, I don't. Yes, I think the Yankees will miss the playoffs.
Ouch.
Ouch.
All right, let's move on to our next statement.
Oh wait, I had one more thing.
Oh yeah,
this is interesting.
Tell me.
Since June 4th, Alex, June 4th, Shohei Ohtani has 20 homers and 136 at bats. The New York Yankees have 38 homers and 1,168 at bats. That's crazy.
I mean, we were even having this conversation with Smoltz. You did, like, saying how it would be a good deal for the Yankees to trade for Ohtani at the deadline, even if it's just on loan and you don't get to keep him.
I think he would probably. He said that a week ago. I bet you he's changed.
Oh, 100%. I'm like, right now, like where the Yankees are at and seeing how the team is as a whole, that's out of the picture now.
Yep.
That's completely out of the picture.
Yep. Now I'm ready.
Now you're ready for the next statement. Okay. Well, we're going to stay in the AL East here.
Stay.
A
dog.
Stay. All right. Orioles will hold on to first place in the AL East.
You know, first place is theirs by mere percentage points. Record-wise, like the Rays are even in the standing, but by mere percentage points, if the season ends right now, this moment, the Orioles win the AL East. So, yes, the Rays haven't been great since their 30-9 start, which 30-9, you can afford to not be great for the rest of the year and coast and play 500 ball and probably get into the playoffs. But that's what they've been. They've been about a 500 ball club since their 30-9 start. But I don't want this to be about the Rays. I want this to all be about the Orioles and what they have done lately and how good they have been playing since the All-Star break, since before the All-Star break. They went on that win streak.
Yep.
They've just called up prospect after prospect this year and continued to rake. I mean, their offense has been fantastic lately. Then you have Yanier Cano and Felix Bautista in the back end of that bullpen. So can they hold on to first place in the juggernaut AL East this year? In my honest opinion, I think that depends on what they do at the trade deadline.
Ooh. What do you want to see them do?
Starting pitching. They need it. They added Shintaro Fujinami yesterday, which I really like. So Fujinami comes over from Japan and signs with the Oakland A's. And it was, for lack of a better word, an abysmal start to his career. So if you look at his ERA right now, it ain't going to jump off the charts at you. It's not good. But over the last month plus, he's been really good. And they they used him as a starter at first, then move him to the bullpen where everything got a lot better. And over the last month, he has a 2.77 ERA, striking out 9. His K per 9 is 9. He throws over 100 miles an hour. He has a splitter in the mid-90s. His stuff is nasty. So you pair him with a back end of a bullpen that already has Yanier Cano and Felix Bautista, 2 all-stars, by the way. Then you look at, okay, well, you don't need to get a ton of depth out of your starters when you can have a 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys. But the reason I say I can't yet say that they will hold on to first place in the AL East, because I need to see what they do at the deadline. And if they do not add a single starting pitcher, I don't think this team has the starting pitching to win the division. I think they're a playoff team.
Okay.
I just need to see them add. Nobody really knows what's available besides all the Chicago White Sox rotation. Add one of them. Giolito, Lance Lynn, Dylan Cease, I think to a lesser degree. I don't know how available he is. I keep hearing his name. I don't think Dylan Cease is available. But check in on him. But I need them to add one of those arms in the rotation because I just don't think this starting rotation is where it needs to be to win the AL East. So let's reassess in 11 days.
Okay.
But right now, the AL East is theirs. And I will say, if they add a starting pitcher, an established starting pitcher, this answer will be yes for me.
Dang. I know. Well, just at the beginning of the year, when we looked at the AL East, it was just there were so many more scenarios that we thought were going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Blue Jays to win the division.
And then Tampa Bay took
right.
control of the entire league for the first couple of months.
And at that point,
Yankees dropped to the bottom, Aaron Judge injury.
Right.
There's so many factors.
Any of those. If you were to tell me at the beginning of the year when I picked Blue Jays that the Yankees would win the division, not shocked. If you were to tell me the Rays win the division, not shocked. But if you were to tell me the Orioles win the division this year, I thought they'd take a big step. But this big of a step? I mean, this has been a blast, and I've been saying it all year long. If this season ends without me sitting in the bird bath, I'm going to be upset.
It's going to happen. Well, you mentioned the trade deadline, so on to our next statement. The Mets need to embrace selling at the deadline.
I disagree with this. They're 9-4 in the month of July. They've, as we sit on Thursday, they've won, 3 in a row? The last one against the Dodgers and then the first 2 against the White Sox.
They've won 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
6-4 in their last 10.
Yes. They've been pitching much better, but they're 7 games out of a wild card spot. The division's out of hand. The Braves
16.5 out of the division.
The Braves are the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
The division's out of hand. You're playing for a wild card spot. And I actually think the teams that are ahead of them in the wild card race, they should be better than.
It's the Cubs, the Padres, the Reds, and Miami.
Right. And then the wild card teams that are in a spot right now are Giants, D-backs,
and
Phillies. So theoretically, the Mets have the talent to creep back in this race. So as you sit now, it was close to 10 at the end of June. So now you sit 7 games out. You have teams in front of you that a lot of them are on a streak in the wrong direction right now. I don't think they need to embrace selling, but they do still have. How many teams right now did you mention are ahead of them?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 in between them in a playoff spot.
Getting into the wild
card
spot.
So that's too many. That's too many.
Yeah.
If you get to June,
I mean, they're tied with the Cubs right now, 7 games, and then Padres are 6.5 out. Reds are 2 out. Miami's a half a game out.
If you get to July 28th and you're still 5 or more games back with 4 teams.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if they're 7 back right now. If you're 7 back with only 1 team in front of you, it's like that could be made up in a week and a half. You know, they go on a losing streak and you win all the games, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if there's still 4 teams in between and you're 5 or more games out, that's when you start getting in trouble. And that's what I talked to John Smoltz about for Saturday with Smoltz. We can play a clip of that. But that's what we talked about is if you're the Mets or any of the teams that want to be good but that are on the bubble, where is that line? At what point do you draw the line and say, okay, it's too late and we are too far back? Because everybody says you wait until the deadline, then make your decision. But where do you make that decision? And I thought his answer was really interesting. Let's listen to that.
I think you have to be 4 games out of a playoff spot before the trade deadline to continue to go in the narrative of they're good enough, then they're better than most of the teams that are in front of them. They just haven't played that way, right? They haven't scored. If they can score runs, which I thought would not be a problem for them, their pitching is way better in the rotation to handle that. So if they flounder around the same distance behind, it's unrealistic.
Flounder's such a good word.
I just think of Flounder, the fish, and Ariel. Wasn't his name Flounder?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. The yellow fish. Yeah, I think it is. I'm getting nods. I'm seeing nods around the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flounder.
So Smoltz and I, what I had just said is I think 5 games, and he says 4 games. If you're not within 4 with all those teams in front of you, but then you're talking about making up 3 games somewhere in 11 days. They got a lot. They have work to do, but they're playing really good. Today, Jose Quintana makes his debut for the Mets. He's been out all year long. That was a huge signing, a huge part of that rotation. Justin's pitching great. Max is pitching much better. Kodai Senga, all-star, been good. Quintana coming back. The offense is starting to hit. This Mets team in July is what everybody expected this year. Is it too little too late? I would say no. I would disagree that they do not need to embrace selling yet.
Ask me again next week.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on to our final statement. We're staying on the trade deadline topic here. The Astros will be huge winners at the trade deadline.
I've heard some crazy things come out of the Astros camp lately.
Tell me.
One being that they're all in on Dylan Cease, who I'll say again, I don't think he moves. But I watched the White Sox last night. I watched the whole game. They're so bad. It's so bad. They're like the talent is there. I don't even know if that's true.
It's just frustrating.
Watching that offense. If I was a fan of the Chicago White Sox, I could not watch games. I just couldn't do it. It's so bad. The offense swings at everything. You spend something up there, and I don't want this to take away from Justin's start because honestly, he was really good. But the approach, like if you have an inning where a pitcher throws 9 pitches, you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow him to go out the next inning and throw 7 pitches, you're not a good baseball team. You can't do that at the major league level. You can't allow a pitcher like Justin to go out there and just be through 6 innings on like 60 pitches. You just can't. And that's what their offense does. They don't change approach. They go up and swing. It's like, okay, we're not a good team. We're out of it. I'm going to try and hit a home run. No matter any time in the game, no matter if the guy in front of you got out on 1 pitch, there's no approach. You learn this in the minor leagues very early. You learn it in college. If the guy in front of you pops out on the first pitch, you got to take a pitch. And if you don't, you better hit a double in the gap or your ass is on the bench for a long time. And obviously with major leaguers, you can't do that. You can't bench Luis Robert. You can't bench, well, there's not a lot of guys you can't bench on that team. But my point, like, how do I get on this topic? We're talking about the Astros. Yeah, okay, the White Sox stink. Trade everybody. Trade everybody. Keep Luis Robert. Trade everybody.
No, but we said the Astros are going to be huge winners at the trade deadline. Who are they going to get?
Dylan Cease. Okay. I've changed my mind. Trade him. Get as much as you can for him. Reload your organization. I think the Astros always tend. This GIF right now playing, if you're watching, is the epitome of me right now talking about the White Sox.
It's Elmo with
the Elmo
flames
on fire.
behind him.
Maybe he's not on fire. Elmo's not.
Flames behind him.
So the Astros always make a big splash at the trade deadline. However, this is a new GM taking it. Dana Brown's now in charge. What does he do? But I just remember years past, the Astros would forever make a big move, and then you think it's done, and then they go out and do something even even bigger. You know, like a couple years ago, I remember Jeff Lunau was the GM of the Astros, and I remember exactly where I was at the trade deadline, and he made a big move. I forget what it was, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the Astros are going for it!" And I remember tweeting that, and his wife Gina side messaged me on Twitter and said, "Just wait a few more minutes." And that's when the Zach Greinke signing came through. So they're always like a really good team that positions the Astros don't position themselves for a playoff push at the trade deadline. They position themselves to be World Series champions at the trade deadline. And are they going to do that this year? And how is Dana Brown going to go about the trade deadline? I think they absolutely become huge winners. I think they add a big piece somehow, some way that we might not even know is available right now. But yeah, you look at this roster, and the realities of the Houston Astros roster is they have an inexperienced bench. They have an injury-plagued rotation, and they have a good bullpen that has a very overused 4 guys that you use all the time. So you could add everywhere, theoretically.
Yeah.
You could add a rotation arm to help. You could add a bullpen arm to help alleviate the stress on the 4 guys you're overusing. And you could use offense because everybody could use an offensive bat. But they're about to get back Yordan, who's on a rehab assignment.
Who's your daddy?
That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Altuve. But yeah, I think they position themselves to become huge deadline winners and position themselves again to go win a World Series.
This is an exciting 11 days.
I love the trade deadline.
You know, we're on Ohtani watch, which I don't know if anyone expected that to happen, which is great. And yeah, we're going to see some big movement here.
Yep.
Just fun. That wraps up making a statement. So we're bringing back another segment that we used to do, panic or patience. Okay. I'm going to give you some teams and you tell me if their fans should start to panic or just, you know, give it a little time. They've got the pieces. Wait it out. Be patient.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to get started with the Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds.
Panic or be patient?
I'm going to take this in an interesting direction.
Okay.
I'm going to say, now this is on the heels of them not being very good lately. They're 3-7 in their last 10, went on that 6 or 7 game losing streak, and they're now on the outside looking in of a playoff spot. I'm going to say be patient. And that's not to say that if we're looking very nearsighted, if we're talking about this season specifically, then panic, you know? But coming into where the Reds sit right now makes me so excited. Not even as a Reds fan per se. And I never I'm a fan of the Reds, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not a Reds fan. I'm so excited watching them for the future. They finally called up Christian Encarnacion Strand, which is a mouthful to get out, and every time I do it, I celebrate internally. Ellie De La Cruz is up. And then you look around the field, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer, then a pitching rotation. They've done what they've done this year without Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo for the majority of the season. So, Reds fans, be patient and just enjoy this ride and journey. Is this a playoff team this year? I think that's icing on the cake.
I mean, they're only 2 games out of a wild card spot.
Right. But I'm not even that's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think heading into this season, Reds fans would have said, we're a playoff team, and if we don't make it, we are going to be pissed. No, this season has been awesome.
With one of the most exciting rookie classes in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I just think there's so much reason for excitement with this team. And I look at the future and I see a starting pitching rotation of Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott and a back end of the bullpen with Alexis Diaz and a lineup with Ellie and Encarnacion Strand and Matt McClain and Spencer Steer and TJ Friedel and like Jonathan India. It's like the writing's on the wall. As long as they don't screw it up, which their ownership, the ownership and GM is the last piece of this for me. You have it. It's there. The future is there. Will they screw it up? Maybe. They haven't proven to me that they are as committed to the future as they need to be. But the time is right now where this team has every single making of being a juggernaut for the next decade. You just have to do it right. You have to keep that rotation intact. You have a big three in the rotation that's nasty. You have a closer. You have a young, exciting lineup that is young and exciting right now. They're doing what they need to do right now. Be patient with this team. And I say that as in, even if they don't get to the playoffs this year, be patient because things have turned around in Cincinnati, and this team is going to be really, really good for a long, long time.
I agree. On to our next team. To panic or just be patient. The Tampa Bay Rays, the team that was one of the best teams, the best team in baseball for a majority of the season, slipped down a little. You panicking or are you being patient?
I'm panicking a little if I'm
Really?
if I'm Rays fans.
Why?
Well, they've been playing under 500 baseball in July. They've been playing 500 baseball for 2 months now. So, and then you relinquish, you give up the lead in the AL East. You're no longer leading the division. You still have a strong hold on a wild card spot, but you can't get a wild card spot by playing 500 baseball the rest of the year. It won't work, especially when you have the Blue Jays on your heels. The Astros or Rangers will be on your heels. So I'm panicking a little bit. Do I think the Rays get into the playoffs? If I had to say right at this moment, I would say yes. And I do think they're a good team, but man, the pitching injuries have started to catch up to them. You know, like you just had guy after guy at the beginning of the year go down, and you just said, like, how are the Rays doing this? Well, they're not doing it anymore. So I'm panicking a little bit, and I think they're just holding on hope to grab a wild card spot.
I mean, they have a 5.5 game lead in that first wild card spot right now.
All right, do you feel comfortable with that if the way they've been playing?
I mean, they're slumping. We knew this was going to happen after having the incredible start to the season that they did. It's a 162 game season. Every team is going to have highs and lows. They're just in their low right now. I think they figure it out and they bounce back and they make it into the postseason.
Well, they started the season 30-9.
Insane.
So this is no longer just a slump when you're 60-39. So that math, let me do it real quick. You were 30-9, you're now 60-39. That means 30-30 on the dot.
Yeah.
500 baseball over your last 60 games, that ain't a slump.
It's 2 months.
That's just average baseball.
It is.
For over 2 months.
That's fair.
I'm panicking a little bit.
Okay. On to our next team. The Mariners. Panic or be patient?
Panic.
Yeah.
They're 47-48. Do you have the standings in front of you? The wild card standings?
Wild card, they are just below the Angels, so they're 5.5.
Panic then. If you're below the Angels.
Yeah.
Panic.
Angels are 4.5. They are 5.5 out of a wild card spot with 1, 2, 3 teams above them.
Okay.
So it's not bad.
No, I don't think you're looking at the standings panicking on July 20th saying we're 5.5 out, panic. No, you're panicking because there's no offense to be found on your team, and there hasn't been all year long.
And there's 2 teams in their division ahead of them in the wild card standings.
Yeah. Where's the offense from this team? You know, I actually don't think the Mariners did enough this offseason. I really don't. I was underwhelmed with the offseason that they did have. Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez has been a piece that they added that has underperformed. But I just don't think they did enough with a rotation that's there and playoff worthy. I would argue their rotation is every bit of being able to win the American League, but their offense wasn't there. But you saw it last year. It was the first year that they got into the playoffs in 20 plus years, and Julio came onto the scene. And I understand Julio also has underperformed a bit from what everybody expected. So yes, we're dealing with underperforming, but the offense was never good enough. The offense was never where I thought it needed to be to take that next step. I thought they were ready to go on a push to be American League champions. I really did. I thought they could give the Astros a run for their money. I thought they put up a much better fight in the playoffs than the New York Yankees did against the Astros. I know they got swept, both of them did, but
they were closer.
It was a one-run game.
Yeah.
Every game came down to one swing here or there. They could have won that series. And then I fully believe they could have beat the New York Yankees. With that rotation, I just felt like they needed a big splash offensively, and they didn't make that big splash. And now you're dealing with underperforming, and now what you have is a sub 500 baseball team. I'm panicking. Where's the offense going to come from for the last 2-3 months of the year? Okay, Julio, be better. Yes.
Yeah.
That's one spot. But like, where's, I don't know. I was really disappointed with the offseason they had. And I'm now here on July 20th, still disappointed in the offseason they had and what they added around Julio Rodriguez, who I love and I think is a superstar, and just needed to add the pieces around him and let him go and lead the team to playoffs after playoffs after playoffs. And there's a really good chance that they don't make the playoffs this year, and that's disappointing.
Now, our next team is quite opposite of what you just said about the Mariners. They added all the pieces that you thought they needed and had extremely high expectations heading into this season, and then have had a very disappointing season. The San Diego Padres. Are you panicking or are you being patient?
Hey, I think everybody in the world should be panicking
Yeah.
about the Padres. This is the ultimate panic. What the hell is going on? You have an offense that is
An all-star team.
a literal all-star team.
Yeah.
At the top of the offense. I understand the depth of the lineup might not be the best, but I don't care. You're dealing with an offense that's literally the top 4 guys are all-stars. And yet they can't hit. The pitching has been what's even kept this team remotely in it this year. This one's easy for me. I panic. I don't even know. It's awful. Bob Melvin said this recently. This was a miserable day. Tatis said, it's a terrible day. Tomorrow's a must-win for us. Manny Machado said that. That was after the pair of losses on Saturday. It's not good. This is the ultimate panic.
Yeah.
The ultimate panic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our final team, I feel like we need to have a little therapy session about our next panic or patient team, the Angels. Because do we be patient as this whole Ohtani situation plays out? Or do you panic because you might lose him and you don't have Mike Trout? There's a lot to unpack here. Go.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. The Angels are the epitome of our pets' heads are falling off.
Yes.
They're a complete panic mode right
Yeah.
now. And yes, they sweep the Yankees. They're playing better, but it's complete panic mode. If you don't win every game between now and the end of the month, what's going to happen with Shohei Ohtani? What's going to happen with this team? We could be talking about a week and a half from now, this organization changing forever, for all time, for the rest of history. What do you do with Shohei? It's the ultimate panic question. There's no time to be patient. There's an owner in charge that I don't believe in whatsoever. I'm panicking absolutely. What's our owner going to do? He could wake up one day and say, I want to give some 38-year-old a 10-year contract for $300 million. I don't want to trade Shohei. Maybe I do want to trade Shohei. I don't want it to be to the Dodgers because I don't even have a reason for it, just not the Dodgers. The guy in charge doesn't even know what he's doing. Why should anybody else not be panicking? Everybody should panic. I'm panicking, and I don't even know why. It's full panic mode for the Angels. If you're not in a playoff spot, you don't have Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani's literally carrying the team. Will Shohei Ohtani even be on the team in a week? What do you get in return? Is he going to re-sign? Will he stay on the team? Will he re-sign? Can that actually be a possibility? This is full panic mode. Honestly, they're playing good, but forget the playoffs. Mike Trout's out for a long time. This isn't a playoff team as it currently sits. You just ran into the New York Yankees who stink. Panic. Absolutely panic. I'm panicking. The fans should panic. Artie Moreno should panic. The GM should panic. The players should panic. Who else should panic? Our friends in the PR department should panic. Everybody should panic. Everybody. The rally monkey should panic. It's full panic mode for the Angels because this organization could change forever within a week.
Yeah, 11 days. Let's
yeah.
breathe. Let's breathe before we move on here. Ready? You okay?
I didn't breathe.
You did. Can you do it?
No.
No, you want to stay? Okay. He wants to stay angry. Let's keep the fire going.
Do we have another team?
No, that was the last team. We ended on the angry note.
I need to de-stress.
Thank you. Okay. Are you going to breathe?
Yeah.
Okay. Do it on your own time.
I want them to be good. I really do.
Everyone does. Everyone wants to see the best players in the game succeed.
I don't want people to hear me say that and think like I'm going off on I want the Angels to be good.
That's where the frustration comes from.
I want Trout in a perfect world.
Yeah.
In a perfect world. And people may say, well, Shohei needs to be on a different team, get more eyes on it. In a perfect world for me, Shohei Ohtani is with the Angels and Mike Trout, and they get into the playoffs, and they're one of the best teams in baseball, but we're nowhere close to that perfect world.
Yeah.
Nowhere close.
And they win a World Series. That's also a perfect world. If we're going to stay in the perfect world, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now time for some fan cues, TQs.
Okay. Let's
Twitter
do it.
questions. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. Our first one comes from Daniel. Going to your Tuesday night tweet, who would you trade from the Tigers, except Torque, to get Shohei Ohtani to Detroit? So now explain
Shohei
this.
to the Tigers, baby.
Not happening.
That was my tweet.
Not happening.
I forget the exact wording of my tweet, but it was basically like, okay, the Tigers had just won, looked at the standings. They were 5.5 games out, and I had fully convinced myself that Shohei was going to get traded to the Tigers. And I believe I ended that with no further questions at this time, please, and thank you. So the question, who would you trade from the Tigers? Good question. Colt Keith, the #1 prospect. Jackson Jobe, big-time prospect. Matt Manning, part of a no-hitter recently. And Eduardo Rodriguez, a big-time vet, throwing really well. 4 names. And you know what? Just to really seal the deal for the Angels, throw in Javi Baez.
Whoa,
that would derail the deal at this point.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's
Javi Baez for Shohei Ohtani, straight up. Who says no? Moving on. Great question. Shohei to Detroit.
Okay, on to our next question from Brian. Which playoff contender needs more pitching?
Orioles. Orioles. There's a few, obviously, but
We talked about the Astros earlier.
yeah, but the Astros, I think, are it's the cherry on top sort of move.
They can still figure it out.
Yeah, they're able to win the American League and to win the World Series the way their roster currently is.
Yeah.
Are they? I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying their team right now is capable of winning a World Series. I don't believe that to be the case with the Orioles. I think they can be. I think they need to add starting pitching. But playoff contenders, I would also throw the Diamondbacks in there desperately. Zach Gallen, great. Merrill Kelly, but add pitching. Diamondbacks, Orioles are the two that really, really come to mind for me. That are they a playoff team? Yes, but it's fringe. But if they add pitching, they're very good with an ability to do damage in the playoffs.
Okay. Final question comes from Seth Green. Ben and Alex, if you catch a home run from the visiting team, are you keeping it or throwing it back? Like in the stands, you catch a home run ball. As a fan, are you keeping it or are you throwing it back?
Is this as like me?
Yeah.
If I were to catch a home run ball home or away, I'd give it to a kid sitting next to me and let them decide what they want to do with the baseball.
That's cute.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, but so, even foul balls. I think I got a foul ball last year at a certain point. You just look around for the kids and give them the ball and let them decide what they
I
want to
agree,
do.
and I like that. And I'd probably do that in every situation, minus if I'm sitting in a Dodgers game and it was an Astros home run. You got to throw it back. You have to do it. Yep.
Why?
Why?
I haven't. No. Like,
Yes.
why? I've always at Wrigley, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
But, like, why? It's just, I've never really understood the throwing the ball back on the field. If I'm at Wrigley, hell yeah,
You
I
have
do it
to.
just because it's
You
a
have
thing
to.
there. But, like, everywhere else, like.
No, I feel like it would also
couldn't
be
give
a
it to a
thing.
kid.
It would also be a thing at Dodger Stadium if the Astros hit a home run or foul ball, you're throwing that back.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Alex hates kids.
What? No, I love kids.
Wow.
That's mean.
just, it's a sad
No,
ending.
stop. We are
It's
not
a
ending on that.
sad ending to a
No.
great show.
No.
Thank you all for listening.
Why you gotta be so mean? I'm going to that concert, by the way.
Are you?
Uh-huh. Let's end it on a high note. Curry's going to Swift. Woo!
You are?
Yeah, I secured tickets. I'll just keep bragging about it for the next couple of weeks.
When is it?
A Monday, I think like August 7th. Let's see. Yep, August 7th on a Monday. Yeah.
Well, let's hope you don't steal anything from kids while you're there and throw it back on stage.
We won't. We're going to be dancing. We're going to have a time.
All right. That was a good Thursday episode. We will be back tomorrow with another fun Friday episode of Flippin Bats. Thank you all for listening to this Thursday episode. You know what we got to explain tomorrow, Alex? We got to explain our singing wager.
Oh, you mean your competition, your singing
I will
competition
be
that all the
singing
fans
on
are going to be
stage.
voting for?
Are
Yes,
people
we will.
voting?
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll talk about this
Yep.
all tomorrow. I'm singing soon. We'll break it all down tomorrow. Thank you all for listening to this Thursday episode. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're also on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and you can watch everything on YouTube at Flippin Bats Pod for all of them. Until tomorrow, my friends, this has been another episode of Flippin Bats. Peace.